Hello, and welcome to Playing by Ear. I'm Doug.
Hi, I'm Kyle.
I'm Amy.
Each episode of this podcast, one of us, or a guest, will bring an album they love to be presented and analyzed, track by track, to explore what makes it special, and why they think it's not just worth playing, but replaying. This episode, I'm bringing Black Holes and Revelations by Muse. So, we kick things off the way we always do, talking about why, well, we'll start with me since I picked this one, why I picked this. As I said at the end of the last podcast when I announced it, this album has a lot to it. And I thought since the point of this show was to really go in depth and analyze something track by track, I wanted something with a lot of meat on the bone. This album and this artist really is, they wear their influences on their sleeve. Like I said, if you take Johann Sebastian Bach, Depeche Mode, and Queen and put them in a blender, you get this. There are enormous swaths of this that are heavily influenced by all three of those bands and or artists and a lot more. And so I thought this would be a really interesting one to dissect because of its complexity. So my personal experience was, I heard Knights of Sidonia, the closing track first. I had probably heard some of Muse's other hits before this, in particular, Time Is Running Out and Hysteria from their third album, Absolution. But this was the first one I really heard and stood up and took notice of, again, because of its just crazy structure and really, really bold just flourishes that make that song go. And I ended up falling in love with the album. So that was my start with Muse. Seen them in concert a few times. They are really exceptional. So I'll turn it over to you guys to get your experiences with this album and this band, and then we'll go from there. Amy, you want to start?
Sure. Yeah, I don't think that I was ever exposed to this album. I know that there were some singles from it. Kyle, or you will know the names of them. When I listened to the album, there were definitely some familiarity there, so I definitely had heard some of the songs before. But I couldn't tell you when I heard them or anything about my experience hearing them. I know that you and I were supposed to go to a concert that I got sick, so I didn't end up at that concert. So my experience with Muse is pretty limited to a few radio songs and then anything I've heard when we've been in the car together.
Okay. Kyle, how about you?
Yeah, so one of my best friends, Jeff. What's up, Jeff? He told me about one of the songs on this album right a little bit after it came out, probably, 07, 08. And I listened to the song because I had never heard it before, and I liked it. And where I worked at the time, they had this database of all thousands of albums, and this album was there. So I'm like, you know what? I like that song. Let's try the album. I gave it one run through, and I remember liking it. I don't remember much from it except thinking, hey, this is pretty cool. That's my experience with this album. So I know the one song is what I pretty much knew going into this. And then there's a couple songs that have come out over the last 15 years, I guess 20 years about at this point, that I have heard. So I don't have a lot of experience with the band. I just know the few songs. I mean, I know they're from the UK, and I kind of know their style. I think their big hit, the real big hit was off of, was it 09, 2010, Uprising, right? That's kind of the big one that everyone knows. So I'm really familiar with that one.
Yeah, that's their follow-up to this album, is an album called The Resistance,
Gotcha.
Which is good. It takes the musical, trends you see. Like, if you look at Absolution, which is the album before this, the one they said mentioned has Time Is Running Out and Hysteria. It's a little more straight ahead in terms of rock. This one starts pushing in a lot more of the classical influence and some of these grander things. And then The Resistance gets even more grandiose. And then they get to an album called The Second Law, which is even farther in that direction. And then they kind of start pulling it back with Drones, I think is the one that came out after that. This was right in the middle of their heyday. And I think this was a huge album. Hit number 1 in the UK, hit number 9 in the US. I think the big single here was Starlight, which of course we'll talk about as we get through all the tracks. That was the one that got the most radio play here. I think Supermassive Black Hole was the one that blew up in the UK. Those were probably the two singles you heard most, and maybe Knights of Sidonia was the other single off of it. But yeah, it's one of those things where this is an era where I had a lot of commuting to do. So I'd be in the car and I would be usually listening to our local rock station, K-Rock, at that time. So that was where I'd be hearing a lot of these things. You'd be hearing a lot of Muse songs as you were driving around LA in the aughts, listening to that station.
It was definitely like stylistic. Like once, and we'll get into the songs, but like this band, at least on this album, is all I can really speak to. And the few other songs I know is they definitely have a style. Just as like Metallica, well, maybe not later Metallica, but early Metallica is like heavy metal. Like, you know what it is. I don't know that I can describe or put it into words of what the style is, but every song on this album definitely feels like it belongs on this album. Like there's something just kind of unison about it that makes it all sort of feel the same, which is really nice. And actually that's kind of been the same with the two other albums that we have done so far on this podcast, is that all the songs kind of belong. So we'll see if that trend continues here.
I suspect it will, only because, the point of this is to do albums, do an entire album. And I imagine most of us would not be picking albums where like there's like a few standout tracks, but not much else. We're probably self-selecting for albums that are kind of holistic and, cohesive already. So I suspect that's why you're seeing that. But yeah, there's stuff like there are other bands that like have some of the like 80s synthy influence from this era. There's like the Killers and Franz Ferdinand and bands like that. So like you can hear that, but again, this is much more driven by things like classical music that those bands aren't. That it really makes them kind of sound, that makes their sound different from everybody else.
The Killers definitely, like, I'm into the Killers. Tanya, hey, what's up? She got me way into the Killers. Sam's Town particularly. Man, damn, we should do that album at some point. But this definitely stylistically reminded me of it. It had the same sort of, even the vocals were a little the same. It had that sort of synth-driven but heavy guitars. It was cool. I'm like, cool, I'm sort of familiar with this genre.
Yeah. All right, so then I guess it's time to get into overall thoughts and impressions. I guess I'll go last on that since I'm the one who picked it. Amy, let's start with you. Your overall thoughts and impressions of Black Holes and Revelations.
Yeah, so going into this, I was very much like eye-rolly. Oh my God, I have to listen to this album, because I will say that anytime it comes on in the car and we're listening as a family, I'm very much like, what the hell is this? I don't like this. And so, I went into this with an open mind, and I was like, all right, well, we're just going to listen, and hopefully we find some things we like in here. And so I listened to this album, gosh, at least 20, 25 times over.
Wow.
I mean, I just played it. Like, I was working on things, I was playing it. I was driving in the car, I was listening to it. I'm just trying to find, like, nuggets that I can analyze. And so, that's lots of hours. 45 minutes album times 20, maybe. So at the end of all of that listening, I would say my opinion has not changed. Unfortunately.
Okay.
Like, exposure did not change my opinion. So overall, I mean, I really appreciated the instrumentation. It's a great production. Like you said, it's very cohesive. They have a very specific sound. But it's just not for me. And so, I mean, there are parts of this that I was like, ooh, I really like that. Or like there's one song in particular that I really liked and scored really high. But for the most part, when you guys say, oh, this sounds like a cohesive album, to me, I'm like, well, that's because every song sounds the same. And so, of course, it's cohesive. It's basically one long song. So, yeah, I mean, there's parts of it that are really enjoyable. They're obviously very good musicians. I do not like Matt Bellamy's voice basically at all. And so I think that if you had changed the vocalist, which obviously can't, I mean, he's the lead, he's probably writing all the music.
He writes all the songs.
Yeah, obviously. So, yeah. And I mean, that's the same with Taylor Swift for me too. Like, I don't like Taylor Swift's voice, but I think like the music is very good. And obviously she's very talented, very good business person, blah, 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 blah. There's lots to like there. But yeah, so, I'm sorry. I know you probably really wanted me to like this album and you wanted to expose me to new things, but I tried. You have to give it to me that I really, really tried.
No, I do. And I one of the things I said when we talked about it at the end of the last episode, which is like, even if you don't like it, one of the things that's cool about it is like the level of musicianship here is undeniably off the charts in terms of how skilled they are and how complex this stuff is. So I knew that even if you didn't like it, I think that there would be a lot to talk about in terms of like what's going on in the song.
Yep.
Even if ultimately you go, well, it's not to my taste, as opposed to just kind of going like, okay, it's a few chords and it's over. Yeah. Right.
So one more thing I'll just mention is that as I was listening to this, I did not understand a word of what he was saying. And so much of what I like about music is in the lyrics. And so my analysis of this album is musical only, because if it takes me going and looking at a lyric sheet, that's not the experience of music for me. So if I'm listening to a song and I'm understanding the lyrics and I'm singing along and then I'm analyzing and I'm digesting it, that's part of my musical experience. If I have to stop and go look at a book to read the lyrics and understand what he's talking about, that's just not how I want to experience music. So I'm not analyzing the lyrics this time, which is weird because to me, like the lyrics, I'm such a lyric-driven appreciator. That's the word. So yeah. I just wanted to throw that in there and let you know that I'm going to be analyzing it more from a musical standpoint.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll talk about the lyrics, but if you're right, they are more music forward than lyric forward, and I can say I've listened to a lot of them, and I can generally get a sense of like the themes he's interested in, but in terms of what he's talking about, usually I'm kind of like just Muse lyrics.txt, like whatever this is, right? I don't understand it, which is fine. Let's get Kyle's thoughts.
Yeah, so first off, it's really cool to listen to anything new, right? Because being a music person, even if I hate this album or I absolutely love it, and we're going to get more into that, it's just cool to be introduced to stuff. I mean, like I said, I heard this album once, 20 years ago, but 10 of these 11 songs were basically new to me, which was really cool. So I enjoy that adventure. So the production was really great. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Regardless if I like these songs or not, they got produced very well. There's clarity in everything. I actually think that the lyrics are that you can actually kind of understand what he's saying. I do think kind of. I did actually end up going through and reading through a lot of the lyrics later on. First initial listens, I mean, Doug, we've talked about this before. Lyrics isn't so important up front. We kind of get that later, or more about the melody. And that definitely held true with this. I also listened probably about 15 to 20 times. The first time I listened, I just got a sample of each song. I got like maybe 60 seconds, and then I went through and I think I listened to the first half of the album, paused, then I went through, listened to the other half. Then over the course of about 5 days, every time I went to the gym, I got a gym membership. Look at that. I'm in shape. I listened to this album so like 5 times in a row at the gym, 45 minutes or however long I worked out for. So I really listened to it. I also listened to it in the car on a few long drives. Just got back from a vacation, listened to that a few times. So I really got this album down. There's a few that I probably don't remember as much as some others. But I definitely heard it a lot. I found myself kind of going through a sort of a bell curve with how I felt about the album. I didn't like it so much up front, but as I listened more and more, let's say probably around listens 5 to 10, I started to actually really get into it. But then on the back end of it, as I kind of like crossed over that 10 to 15 times, I'm like, well, some of the stuff on here I can kind of do without. So like I said, we'll go through the songs. But it was really cool experiencing it. I'm really curious to know what you guys think of this. I feel like we're going to get a really good representation of, I'm guessing Doug's going to love a lot of it. Amy's not. I might be somewhere in the middle. We'll see. But this is a good example of an album that I think we should be doing on this podcast, because one of us really, really likes it and the other people just don't know what the fuck we're doing. Let's check this out. So, yeah. Excited about digging.
And so for my overall thought, I'm not going to say I love every track on this album. I don't. You're going to hear my criticisms of it. But I thought, if I was going to pick an album by this artist, this would be the one to pick.
Yeah.
Even if I think, for example, I think Absolution is holistically probably a better album in terms of I think the songs are overall better or the melodies are better, things like that. Again, just on average. But I also don't think it's as interesting because it's not as intricate and ambitious as this one is.
I think it would be kind of fun for when we're doing this podcast is I just want to throw an album in there that I hate and just not tell you guys, and then let's do that to see,
Could be. I mean, yeah. So, and the other ones, like I said, take the things about this that are interesting and kind of ramp it up so much that I think it's kind of not as representative. This was kind of their peak and right in the middle. So I thought if I had to pick one Muse album to do for the podcast, this would be the one. So you're gonna hear some of these I'm totally not as hot on, and so I think your assessment is right. There are parts of it that are a little inconsistent in terms of they're not just some of these songs just aren't as strong as some of the other ones. I think some of the ones that are strong are blow your hair back impressive. So we'll get into all of that. But yeah, like I said, I think you guys thought I was going to be like super glowing about it. I do like it. I probably like it more than you guys, but I still have my reservations that you're going to hear. So with that, I guess we should start off with the track by track. Kyle, kick us off.
Sounds good. So we're going to do this youngest to oldest. So we're going to start with Amy here. The first song is the lead-off track called Take a Bow. This is 4 minutes and 35 seconds. I will say up front that all tracks on this album were written by Matt Bellamy, so I'm not going to go back to that. He wrote all of it. So Take a Bow, 4:35. Go ahead and take us there, Amy.
Okay, so I think that this first song, it starts with a really cool organ opening. I'm gonna like share some of the things that I enjoyed about it, and then I'll jump into my criticism. So I really liked the cool organ opening. I thought the use of instruments was really interesting. I thought it was a great example of a first track for an album because it really showed to you this is what you're gonna get. I mean, it sets you up that this is exactly like the music that's throughout matches this style. So I think it really kind of is a first lead-in track to all of the rest. I think there's a part where the drums kick in, and this is kind of where I start to fall off. The drums kick in, and then all the instruments kind of start to explode. It's at the "and our freedom's consuming itself" part, and then it stays really high and really hard the rest of the time. And that's where it kind of loses me, because I feel like it wasn't very melodic. I didn't like his vocals. They're kind of I don't know if whiny is the right word, but it's like this kind of sound, and I didn't
screechy maybe.
Yeah, but sometimes I like screechy.
It's not he's not raspy. He has a very clean sound.
But it's just waily, maybe wail, and it just doesn't sound pleasing to my ear. So that's kind of where I was at. I really, really didn't like this first one, and then the lyrics are kind of funny because it's talking about burning in hell, and I was like, okay, that's where I feel like I'm at. So yeah, I'll turn it over to we're doing youngest to oldest, so I'll turn it over to Kyle. That's my analysis of this one.
Nope.
Sorry.
Well, youngest to oldest would mean Doug is next.
That's Doug.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I can't think of a song that I like more that I'm going to ding a lot in the score, because I think this is a great lead-off track. As you said, it's kind of a thesis statement for who they are and what this album is going to be like.
Good description.
Right? But it kind of only works as a lead-off track. Basically what this is it's an overture. And so, I couldn't imagine this song being played, halfway through a concert. You have to open with this. It has to be the first track. You can't close with it. You can't do anything else with it. The lyrics are okay. This is typical, Muse, New World Order, conspiracy theory kind of stuff that he likes to just do. He's singing about, a corrupt politician taking a bow. And I almost think, the best thing you could have done with this is actually remove all the vocals and actually just make it a true overture. If you had done that and maybe just tightened it up into maybe 3 minutes, it would be so impressive of oh my God, what's about to happen as a lead into the next track, Starlight. I think that would have been amazing. And if the only vocals were maybe oohs and ahs or something, something choral, I think that would have been 10 times better than what this is. I actually like the part where you talked about, right, so it starts with this, it's a synthesized like arpeggio, and I love me a good arpeggio, which for music people who don't know, or people don't know music, that's basically when notes kind of cascade up and then back down again and up and down. That's what this opens with, and I love it. And that kind of like accelerates faster and faster and then higher until like kaboom. I'm not as crazy about the high pitched stuff, but when that like guitar, when that stops and the guitar comes crashing in, like you can feel like almost someone conducting that like it was an orchestra more than a band playing. And I think if they leaned into that, like I said, this would be much higher than the score I'll ultimately give it. So those are my thoughts on Take a Bow.
Okay, good stuff. I do feel like this is the intro. So one thing listeners out there have listened to the Jason Mraz podcast is it took me a while to realize that that first track was a good opener. But with this one, immediately it felt like a good opener. It didn't feel like a banger of an opener, like Enter Sandman off of Metallica. It's like, let's go. Here's like basically one of the best songs on the album. It didn't feel like a banger like that, but it still felt very much like the opening track. So I dug that. There's that sort of arpeggiation 16th note feel that's going on throughout, which I also really liked that. I felt like the song took a while to get going. I didn't write down when, but I feel like it's maybe after the second chorus or something to where it finally like kind of kicks in and gets going. So I feel like it could have been earlier. I do agree with what you said, Doug, about like maybe there not being lyrics. Like that might have made it better for me. The Burn in Hell stuff, I think it's really negative. Even though it does fit with what he's saying, it's just really negative for me. So I wasn't really digging on that. It does feel grand. The overall feel is very grand, almost like a Queen song where it just feels big and giant. Overall, I think the song kind of feels like a fight against the man. Like it's just kind of that idea, like fight against the man, which at this point in the album, I think is really cool because it's kind of an introduction to them. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. It's kind of like apocalyptic, like, you know, screw the man, middle finger. So I thought that was really cool. My criticism is I never really thought it got melodic enough in a way that, you know, I don't know if I would have written it better, but just that they could have been. I felt like there's a lot of musical hope in this song. Like there's so much musically going on. So musically it was very good, but with his vocals, it just never got to a melodic place to where I wanted it to be. And at this point of the album, I don't know how I feel about the singer, really. I'm just kind of hearing it and checking it out. So we'll get more into my opinion of Bellamy later on. So at this point, it's still okay. Like the sound of his voice is okay. I just feel like the melody could have been better. And overall, I mean, I just think it's a very bold way to start an album, which I think they mostly pulled it off. I think there's, including the melody, there's some stuff that could have been better, but, you know, I was intrigued when I was like, okay, here we go. This is a good way to start it.
Yeah, I mean, you said something interesting. Like, they're definitely taking risks. Like, they didn't play it safe in any sort of way. Like, by throwing this on first, like, I mean, for me, like, I didn't like it. I don't like the style, but like, they're making a statement with it. Like, we're gonna do what we want to do, and we're gonna make this album. And you know, I applaud that. I still didn't rate it high, but like, I applaud the efforts that they took to just be experimental and be interesting and throw things at the wall and see what stuck for them.
Yeah, and there's a confidence to this that just kind of says like, and we're fucking good at this. Like we went to music class. We learned theory. Like we are way light years ahead in terms of our ability to create music than the average guys out there slinging 4 chords in a garage. And so there's something cool about, I mean, that's why like, I think again, Queen is a good touch point, right? Because they'll do stuff like this too, where it's just like, back the fuck up and watch out. We're going to do something big. And so I really appreciate that about that. And that's why I thought, yeah, if you, but because the melody isn't any great shakes itself, if you would like lop this down to like just a 2-minute exploding overture, like how like pumped that would get you, like basically all the positives of this track with none of the negatives, and then you like just burst right into Starlight, and then yeah. as like a longer intro, like think of like Elton John has that Love Lies Bleeding, right, which is there's like a 5-minute piano go nuts intro to that. Billy Joel has Angry Young Man. Like there's artists who have done stuff like this before where it's like we're going to take our time to set up a lot of music to then burst into what is the main song. I think that would have been the right way to go here.
I think that like you said something about how like, yeah, these guys went to music class and they really learned music theory and they're better than those guys, you know, playing guitars in their garages. But it really just comes down to taste and like, and melody too. And if you don't have a good melody, like there's no song. So like you could throw more instruments on this and make it sound really interesting. But like, if it doesn't have a hook, this song is missing a hook. And that's, you know, it's not catchy.
Right.
And so that's where the flaw is in it for me.
I totally agree.
Yeah. It kind of like, it has that Rush thing, because we all know Rush, Neil Peart drums, like they are an amazing bunch of musicians. Like they can play the hell out of it. But a lot of their songs, other than maybe a few that I really, really love, no melody, like you said, Amy. It's like, I can't hum along to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, go ahead. That reminds me of a word we have not thrown around yet, but the word prog.
I don't know what that means.
Progressive rock, prog rock. So these are bands like Yes, you know, known for a lot of like keyboard noodling mostly from the 70s. But yeah, Rush, Yes, bands like this that also are like, let's do something really like complex, crazy time signatures, shifting stuff within the song musically, like, you know, again, but it still has to all come together. It can't just be a showcase of musicianship.
Yeah, but this definitely has that kind of thing. I would say this is sort of progressive rock in a way. I think it's actually more pop than traditional progressive, but it definitely reminds me of that kind of stuff just a little bit.
All right, so let's do scores on Take a Bow.
I just one more thing before
sure.
This podcast gonna last forever. But I'm just thinking, like, we can't tag the band in this. They're gonna listen and be like, "Who the fuck are these guys?" Analyzing like our musicality, like.
I think they'd appreciate it because this
so?
is real, right? We're not like just bullshitting. Like this is how three people, just random people, feel about their songs. I think, hey guys, what's up, Bellamy? Like, let's talk here.
Hi, Matt. All right, my score on this one is a 65%.
I gave it an 80.
Okay, and I gave it a 78.
Oh wow, that's pretty high for the criticism that you gave.
Yeah, well, I mean, still think it was decent. I try to take myself and my own opinion out of it and just think, how good is it? I think if I liked it more, it would have been a bunch higher. And if I same going the opposite way. So 78 to me isn't great. There's a lot of songs in general that are going to be like 80. 80 is kind of like be above 80 if you want to be on Kyle's good list.
Oh, okay.
All right, so we're going to go off to track number 2 now. We're going to take it to Doug. So this is Starlight. This song was released as a single on September 4th, 2006. It was actually their second single off the album. I listed off where they got in the U.S. on the U.S. charts. So on the alternative charts, this song got to number 2. 3 minutes and 59 seconds. Doug, take us there.
Yeah, so this was the big radio hit, at least here in the U.S. This was the one that took over. As you said, I got all the way up to number 2. It was the one I heard the most on the radio. By then, I had already bought the album, was listening to it. And I think there's a reason this one caught fire. I think this one does have a great melody. I think this is one where there's a lot of, as opposed to Take a Bow, which is like kind of unrestrained. Like it's pretty much like, let's go nuts with everything we've got. This is much more in control. like the verses are actually fairly sparse in terms of the instrumentation. It's mostly just this kind of like simple like guitar line. It's almost one note, just da 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 da, and then it's driven by this really cool. I don't know what effect they're doing to a piano to make it sound like this, but it sounds like it's in space. Like it's there's a lot of reverb. Like it feels like just the piano itself is in like some ghostly void. I don't know how to describe it, but it's a really airy sound to the piano that I love. And then they do bring in, again, it's like, oh, now it is time for the arpeggios. Like that hits just in the pre-chorus, which I think is a great pre-chorus. Then they downshift again to like that Our Hopes and Expectations part. And then dun, 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 they like bring in the drums again. So there's a lot of great dynamics to this song. Like the way they kind of throttle back and forth on when to get, more intense, less intense. And the production, I think, is really great. You can really hear each of these constituent parts really well. So, not to give anything away, but I mean, I rated this track pretty highly. I think it's very impressive.
Awesome. Cool. So this is the song that Jeff introduced me to many years ago. He said, listen to the song, Kyle. I liked hearing it with the rest of the album because it made sense, even though maybe the rest of the album I didn't like as much. This still kind of felt like it belonged, which I thought was really cool. It gave it some more context. I already liked this song. I think I like it more now, hearing it in this context. I absolutely love the verses. Far away and the ship is taken. I love the melody to that and the chords. Oh yeah, I can do that all day. I like that there's the two bridges. There's one that's kind of pumping through heavy, and then there's one that's broken down and quiet. I think that's cool how they do it. Every time I listen to the song, I can't remember which one comes first, and it doesn't really matter, but I always forget. I think the chorus is huge and grand. I think that piano just shines through. I think it's good and loud, and the Hold You in My Arms. I love it. I love the melody. I love the lyrics. As a side note, this song has been my alarm clock for very many years, in and out. Sometimes it's not, but I like waking up to that jun 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 jun, and I usually turn it off at that point because I want to go back to bed. But yeah, so this is the one I know, and I won't give anything away yet, but I do like this song. Amy?
Yeah, I feel like out of most of the songs, this is the one most accessible just to the random person. Like, you're gonna like this one. It's memorable, it's catchy, it's sing-alongable. So I feel like it makes sense that this one is the single. I really enjoyed the piano in it. I could understand the lyrics, and for most of the songs I couldn't. I'm not entirely sure what he's talking about. I think it's a love song. But yeah, I liked the melody. I think that the piano, I already said that the piano is really cool. Yeah, this one's like one of the stronger ones for me.
Have you heard it before, Amy?
I'm pretty sure I have. I mean, now I've heard it 3,000 times, so I really know it, but yeah.
Again, if you were listening to K-Rock in the Yachts, you heard it.
I'm sure I've heard it before.
They still play it now.
Oh yeah, there's a good turn of phrase here. Like the lyrics, what he's talking about is kind of like this. Like yes, he's talking about like going off in a spaceship with this woman, but he's also like talking about like he does this a few times in the album, talking about like a love that's like so like hot and burning that it consumes you, kind of stuff. He has a line in here. He says, "Let's conspire to ignite all the souls that would die just to feel alive." Like that's a like I'm not as crazy about their lyrics overall. I think that's a good turn of phrase of like literally let's just burn this shit down, we're so in love kind of stuff. Because he'll go back to that kind of a mode, here and there throughout this album and others. But like, yeah, this song is really relatable. It's a catchy melody. I think this one is a unqualified success.
And I just don't think like instrumentally it's so weird. Like there's still some like cool instrumentation in it, but it's not like so far off the deep end that just the average person is like, what the hell am I listening to here? Like I said, it's accessible, and it's K-Rock. Like you can hear this on the radio. Some of the other stuff you definitely cannot.
It's very easy on the ears, especially that chorus with that piano going. I mean, I can imagine an old lady liking this as well as a 3-year-old,
Mm-hmm. Except my kids. Anytime they were in the car with me, it was like, what is this? I tried though. I didn't sway them. Although I did tell Celeste, I was like, I don't really like this album. I don't know what to do with Daddy on this. All right, should we give our scores?
Sure.
Go for it.
I'm starting this off.
Doug first.
Yeah, so I gave this a 97. I love it. The only reason I didn't go all the way to 100 is like I still don't think the lyrics are like, for me to give something 100, it's got to be like unimpeachable. And like these lyrics are okay, but I'm not giving it 100. So 97.
Yeah, really hard to go 100. I would say confidently that this is, there's a lot of songs I know. This is probably in my top 50 songs of all time. So I gave it very high. Also a 96.
Wow. And I'm an 85. So that's pretty good for me.
Yeah.
The last one was a 65. So we've gone up 20 percentage points. And again, this, when I'm talking about my scoring on this, like this is in the ecosystem of the album. So is this a B in like all of Amy's music? I don't know if it is, but as it compares to the rest of the songs on the album.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fair.
Rating on the curve.
Yes.
All right. So we're going to go for track number 3, which will be me. The song is called Supermassive Black Hole. Minutes and 29 seconds. This was the first single off the album that came out in June of 2006. It climbed all the way up to number 6 on the US alternative charts, and I am going to take us there. So this was a cool one. This is one where I felt like maybe I knew it, but I wasn't so sure, and as I listened to it more and more, it really grew on me. I really thought this song was actually kind of sexy. I'm not really going to get into guys singing and think that they're sexy. That's just not totally me. But that falsetto voice that he uses was just kind of a sexy. I like that. I thought that was really cool, and I kept thinking that from the beginning all the way to listen number 15 later on. I love the feel of it. It's kind of like got that clappy kind of almost starlighty. It kind of reminded me of the previous track. I think it's very catchy. I think it's sing-alongable. I'm glad to know it now. This is one where even if I maybe heard it before, it's now on a list of decent songs. I specifically really liked the change from the verse to the pre-chorus to chorus. I think that they're all 3 like very easy to comprehend parts that flow really well together. And overall, I think it's a really solid track. I love all the parts. So thanks for, if there's anything like, this is one of the ones where I'm really glad that I know this song now, because I think this will probably be a future listen for me.
All right. Aim.
Yeah, for me, I liked that this one sounded different than the rest of the album. I thought it kind of sounded like Prince a little bit the way it was sung. Like so when you're talking about sexy singing, I think that's like very much, connected there. There's really cool harmonies in, I think, the chorus. I don't know what parts are the parts. But there's just like ooh, like some oohs that sound really neat. I like that his voice sounds different. Of course I do, because I don't like his voice. But he's like singing it like higher, and I think that sounded really cool. So for me, the song was okay. It's got some melody. I didn't really analyze the lyrics because, again, I didn't really understand what he was saying. But yeah, this one's all right.
Yeah, I enjoy this one. It's definitely not my favorite on the album, but I understand why it was a big hit. Like in the UK, this was the huge hit. And I can understand, like, it's got a great kind of dance groove to it. He's got these like Bee Gees-esque vocals through a lot of it. Yeah. There's places where it gets a little like harder and electronic that are interesting. Like they use some sort of device to alter his voice where it goes like super massive, things like that. I'm not as crazy about those things. But there's that I don't even know if you call this a chorus or a bridge or what is it, but he starts singing about glaciers melting in the dead of night.
Chorus.
And he's double tracked over himself.
Yeah.
Those sound kind of neat, and they stand out because, again, they're not falsetto anymore. There's something else. I don't know if those are like diminished chords or what they are, but they're very like interesting the way they kind of stand out. So I do like that. But yeah, it really drives on just that like dance groove. I don't particularly care for the like screaming supermassive black hole at the end through like a bullhorn that's like heavily distorted. That I could do without. But overall, it's like, again, the only song on here that's really kind of like a dance song or danceable. Like I like this. You know, like I said, I like it just fine. Mm-hmm. Not my favorite, not my least favorite. Okay, so then scores for supermassive black hole.
All right, so for me, pretty high. I give it an 87.
82.
85. So we're all pretty consistent on that.
Yep.
Very consistent. Okay. All right, well, we're going to take it back to Amy, and I hope that I'm pronouncing this song wrong. I mean, Map of the Problematic, right? I mean...
Problematique, I think, because it's
Problematique,
French with a
okay.
Q-U-E on the end, yeah.
All right, so for me, like, I really liked how this song started. It had like a really long instrumental part until the vocals kicked in. I thought the production value was really high and the quality of like the instruments. And then when his voice kicked in, I got annoyed. So the verses were just okay. I really thought that I think it's the chorus. I can't get it right. That part is really catchy. So I appreciated that too. And there's like some really cool background vocals going on there. And then there's a drum solo, which was kind of cool. But again, like this one just like, it felt like it was just kind of like unrelenting. Like it just like kept going. Like maybe the song was too long or something. I don't know. Just towards the end, I was just like, is this ever going to end? And he's kind of like repeating himself over and over and again. So I kind of, I just didn't love it. And I don't know what he's talking about.
I don't know what he's talking about either. I will reveal that. I don't know. I do like, as you said, I think the production here really shines because, again, this sounds different than the ones that came before. The word that came to mind, or the phrase, is wall of sound. The wall of sound was a thing that Phil Spector pioneered back in the 50s and 60s. When you think of songs like, I don't know, "Do Run Run," you know, like stuff like that, where you would get this like from like every orchestral instrument that he could pull into a studio, right? And there would be like no, like that would fill an entire song. This is like the futuristic version of that, because like the production doesn't let up here. It's not quite modulated the way something like Starlight is. Like it's pretty constant in the way it's coming at you. I think it's a really cool sound. I think this is where they wear their Depeche Mode influence on their sleeve the most, which I like. They're a band that I like. I think some of the harmonies here are really cool. Like, so like that "Loneliness Be Over" is the thing that like he repeats at the end. I agree. It's awesome the first time you hear it. It goes on for too long. But it is beautiful. And I think there's a really cool, like, kind of, I think it's a synth guitar even, that like dun, 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 that's kind of in there to kind of give it a little more like teeth. So I like a lot about this song. I don't know that it all quite comes together. But I think, again, this is one of the, a little like Take a Bow, where there's like a lot of really cool ideas here, all happening in this mix. So, yeah.
Okay. I missed the first part of it, so I'll just throw this in there. This was actually the 5th single off the album.
Oh, wow.
It did not chart in the U.S. It was released in June of 2007, a year after the first album. So they definitely rode this surfboard of an album for a while. They were probably touring during it. Songs 4 minutes and 18. I will go into my opinion on this. So, as I said earlier, that the album was sort of a bell curve for me, to where it kind of got better and better and then kind of came down. This song actually I did not like initially, but it did grow on me over time. It kind of got better and better. Initially, I think, and just overall, I think it feels like, you said Depeche Mode, Doug. To me, I was just thinking dark modern Erasure, right? Same kind of thing, right? Which I like, because I like Erasure a lot. I think that Erasure has a lot more melody in their music, but I think that this band rocks harder than Erasure. So I definitely appreciated that about this song and about a lot of the album. I do like the feel for this one. And I like the instrumentation. I think that the lyrics are pretty dark. I really liked the lyric, "I want to be free from desolation and despair." I thought the choruses were pretty sweet sounding in the song, although I feel like the first one doesn't come for a while. I feel like it's like at least 2 minutes until you get the first chorus. But overall, I really like the sound of it. It sounded really sweet. The drums get very heavy in spots, which I think is cool. I think that overall, it's a really good album rock song. I don't think it's a hit by any means, but I don't think it's a filler either. I don't think that they threw this on there because they were running out of songs. I think that it's a good album rock song. Probably great to play live. It's strong, just not a pop hit. I'm surprised they released it as a single. Yeah, that's about all I got to say about that one.
Yeah, I really like this as a soundscape. I think it's a cool, like, just audio space to occupy, in some of these, like, interesting instruments happening. Like, there's nothing else that sounds like this. So it almost felt like this would be a good, like, background track for a video game level, more than a song in some ways. But I still like it because of that. Like, I think it's a really cool sound to hear. I think, again, this could have been tightened up just a little bit, and it would be a lot higher in my estimation. I still gave it a good score, as you'll see, but it could have been higher with a few adjustments.
And I think also, like, at this point in the album, this is only track number 4, is that every song is sort of sounding a little different. Like, we haven't got to a lot of repetition yet. So it's kind of refreshing in the sense to where, okay, I heard the first 3 songs, the 4th is different. We're still changing. That's going to change later on as we go through this. But at this point in the album, it's still, everything's kind of different.
Okay, so scores for Map of the Problematique. I think, Amy, you're up first?
Amy first.
Am I first? 75%.
I gave this an 89.
Wow. All right, I gave it an 81.
Okay.
All right. It's about our average then.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So we will move on to the next. This is going to be Doug. Will kick us off. This is a song called Soldier's Poem. This is the shortest track on the album, 2 minutes and 3 seconds, not a single or anything like that. Go ahead, Doug.
So I think the instinct here with this song to slow things down and do, a quieter track after the 4 that we've just talked about is the correct instinct. You need something like this to break it up. I think it's pretty. It's kind of slight. There's not much to it. It's interesting that the guitar, part, like, as soon as you hear it, your brain thinks it's Can't Help Falling in Love with You. It's, do 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 wise men say. That's not obviously what he's saying, but one thing to that point, if you ever go see them live, they will say they finish off a song, rather they might actually just go right into like a classic riff that you've heard before. So like not from them, but like all of a sudden they're doing like Led Zeppelin's Heartbreaker for like 45 seconds of just raw music, and then that's a flourish they put in. So I've seen them do that several times with different like classic rock songs just appearing, and you almost go like, "Ooh, this could be a cool cover," but they don't actually cover the whole thing. It's just like, here's a little bit of this, just for fun. But Soldier's Poem, there are slow songs off of, say, Absolution that I think they do this a little better. This is fine. It's not bad. It's pretty, but it doesn't really, I'd never listen to this on its own. It's just a palate cleanser. And it's fine, but I think they've done this type of thing better on other albums.
I like the word that you use, palate cleanser. I think that's a really good description, because initially, and really like the fact that we're like now in a 6/8 kind of acoustic quiet is really cool. It's refreshing because now you're in a different kind of song, something we still haven't heard yet. We're going through an album, we're on song number 5, and we haven't gotten too much repetition. So I really like that. I really like the feel of this. At this point, I didn't really care so much about the lyrics. I think it's because, kind of like how Amy feels, like his voice wasn't, I don't love it. And I think this is where I kind of realized it. It was a little annoying for me. But more importantly, we've talked about it, I probably already said it today, is that melody is more important. But I feel like the melody never really gets there. I would want a song like this that's really, like you said the word pretty, Doug, and it really is pretty because it's a really pretty guitar and it's nice and slow. But the melody never really hits home, which is disappointing. Again, overall, I think the feel is cool. And I think whatever he's talking about sounds sweet. It sounds sincere. I think that the harmonies at the end of the song are strong. But overall, as a complete song, maybe because it's short, I don't know, it just kind of doesn't really do it for me.
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't really do it for me either. And that's hard because I'm such a ballad enjoyer. So like you bring these songs, you have a lot of rock, and then you bring in a ballad, and I'm usually like, oh, I'm in. But I think for me, it's just that his voice is so annoying that like you can't really have like a pretty song if you don't enjoy the vocals that go with it. So, if this is his voice just isn't doing it for me, it's really, really hard for me to stand behind a song. Now, that said, I thought there was good production to the song. And my favorite part was the opening, where it does sound like another song. Where it sounds like, I wrote down, is this a sample? Because I really thought it was like the same exact like parts. I wonder if there's like a credit to the Elvis song.
I think it's just an homage, if anything.
It's just those first 2 bars or something. Do 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 do. Right, common arpeggiation.
Yeah. So, and I underlined voice is annoying. So, yeah, I'm sorry. It just didn't work for me. It wasn't the worst, though. I mean, there's still some, it did have some, instrumentally, it was pretty in parts.
It's pleasant, but that's kind of damning with...
You don't want to be pleasant as a song.
I was going to say that's damning with faint praise a little bit. Yeah, like it's fine. It takes up space. I think you would almost, if you would cut this and gone straight in from Map of the Problematique to Invincible, which also starts off slow, as we'll talk about, that might have done what you wanted to do in terms of downshifting into a song that I think is stronger. So, you could have done that as well. Just cut this thing entirely, and you would have still accomplished the same thing you wanted to in terms of the overall sound and pace of the album. So, I guess it's time for scores for Soldier's Poem. This is me. I gave it an 80. Like, it's pretty. It's inoffensive. It's not bad. I couldn't ding it lower than that, but I'm not going to give it higher. I do think the lyrics here are actually pretty good on this. We didn't talk about them, but I think these are some of the stronger lyrics, as he's talking about basically people being, the soldiers being mistreated or, fucked over, for lack of a better word.
Okay. So I ranked this one pretty low, and like I said, I do like the feel, but the fact that the melody never comes home for me, it's fairly low. So I gave it a 68.
Oh, wow. It wasn't that bad for me. The song was just okay. I gave it a 75. Middle of the road.
Okay. All right, track number 6 is Invincible. This is a straight 5 minutes.
Do
This was the 4th single off of the album, released in April of 2007. It did not chart in the US. I believe it did climb on some UK charts, but we're only talking about US here today. And it looks like it's my turn to get us started. I really like the intro ambient sound. I think it sounds cool. I think, again, we're still discovering what this band is at this point. It's got sort of these marching drums that are happening that I think is really cool. I think that this song actually does have melody, which I appreciate. I think that the melody was pretty good. I really like the line, "There's no one like you in the universe." Especially there's going to be a lot of negative lyrics, I think, that comes on later. And even in the Take a Bow, how he says burning in hell, this song does not have that. It's much more positive, which I really liked. It's nice when the second verse kicks in. I think it's after the first chorus. It gets a little bit stronger. And then the chorus right after that even gets stronger than that. I like that it gets dark and heavy after the second verse. It kind of kicks in more. It just kind of pulls through. I think that the solo is cool and original. I'm kind of mixed about the song because I didn't love it, but I think that it's really good. I actually think it's a very good song, but it doesn't hit home for me in a way to where other melodic songs do hit home, but the melody is strong, and I think that the songwriting is actually pretty good on this one. So rating the song, we'll get to it, but it's definitely a combo of how I feel versus how I feel personally versus how good I think the song is. But I think that this is a fairly solid, strong track off the album.
Okay. For me, this is where I started to kind of lose interest in the album. I mean, it started to get, like, I thought this was kind of repetitive, and I started to get kind of bored. I wrote down that his voice sounds a little different because he's like, it starts off by him like more like talking in parts of it. Like it sounds like almost talking. And I wrote down like, I wonder if I'd like this more with different singers. So like, this is where I was really like, oh, it's really the vocals for me. There is a part that it does start to get more melodic. I don't know if it's the pre-chorus or like before he says the words together, "We're invincible." So I guess it's the chorus. I just thought it was a little bit more melodic and a little bit catchier there. But then as he continues to go, like, I just think that the voice was just too distracting for me to appreciate it. And then towards the end, I thought the guitar actually got really annoying too. So this song just didn't work for me, unfortunately. Not the worst, but sorry, just not into it.
See, I like this one. It does something that, you know, a lot of good songs, it has a build, right? It starts off slow. What's interesting is it doesn't get faster in terms of the actual beats per minute, but it gets more intense, right? You more full, yeah, more instruments, more drums, more percussion as things build and build. I think when he hits that, you know, when he really opens up his voice, that during the struggle they will pull us down, like that, I think is like the peak of the song. I'm not crazy about the outro, where he gets that "together we're invincible" and then do 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 do, like it kind of goes minor for a bit. I'm like, I think if you would just like gotten to the like ta-da at the top of the mountain for that other part and stopped there, I think it would have been better. And again, you could have like maybe taken out a verse or two just to. It's 5 minutes. It could probably be 4, and you could still accomplish the same thing. But overall, this is one I like. Again, like they layer in, like there's some good arpeggiation. There's some cool like layers of different like strata of guitars happening as it works its way up and builds. So overall, I like it. Like I said, I'm not as crazy about the outro there, but I do like this one. Maybe not even as much as you, Kyle. But I ended up finding this one growing on me the more I listened to it because of the way it's put together, which I think is pretty interesting.
Okay. I guess it's me for a rating. So even though I said I liked it, I did like it. But remember I said 80 is kind of, if you're an 80, then you're like on the Kyle Good list. Well, this one I gave a 79. So just barely under.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it was a 75. So again, not the worst, but just not really great.
And I gave it an 85. So I liked it more than you guys. But again, I'm not as, effusive over it. I think there's things about it, like many of these songs, I think there's things that are really cool about it, even if it isn't, perfect. So, okay. So then we're up to Assassin.
Numero
right?
siete. Yeah. Okay. So track number 7 is called Assassin. It's 3 minutes and 31 seconds. not released as any kind of single. I personally am looking forward to talking about this song and seeing what you guys think. So go ahead, Amy.
All right, so this is my least favorite on the album. It was just too hard for me. It just completely sounded like noise. It sounded like the others, but with noise added on top of it. So I just I couldn't find it. I was looking for something to like about it, and it just didn't seem like melodic to me. I couldn't understand what he was talking about. Again, I got to this point in the album, and it was just really, really hard for me. And there's another song that I like coming up that is good. So it wasn't like I gave up completely on it, but I couldn't find something to grasp onto as on this song that I liked. So sorry, not much to analyze here. Just not a fan.
Yeah, this is one of my least favorite tracks on the album too. I think it's because it's fast, it's hard. Right, you've got a hard driving guitar that it's almost like System of a Down, almost. It's like, and I'm like, that's a good element. It's not a terrible idea to have that as your your bed kind of for the song to build off of, your foundation. But I feel like it is just it's unrelenting and not necessarily in a good way. It's just coming at you. It never lets up. It's not as dynamic. It needs more of something to not just be whatever you said, 3.5 minutes of just this coming at you. The only thing it kind of has are these vocals, but that's not enough to really save it either. It's just sort of this oddball thing. It doesn't feel like it belongs in the song. So yeah, and none of the lyrics did anything for me either. It's a lot of their New World Order conspiracy theory stuff. So yeah, this song, the only thing I like, there's some I think it's a pre-chorus or a bridge is kind of cool where it almost goes into a disco beat. When he talks about losing control, that part's okay, but one cool part does not a song make.
Okay, cool. I'm stoked. That was cool to hear you guys.
I was like, I love it. It's my favorite song on the album.
No. Okay. So first off, you guys didn't mention it. Maybe you don't realize it, but it feels like a Knight Rider ripoff. I want to sing Knight Rider for the beginning.
Knight Rider.
The show with the talking car?
Oh, that. I don't remember that. I know. I remember the show, but I don't remember the
David
song.
Hasselhoff.
Yeah,
Listen to those songs back to back.
Doug play a clip in this spot right here.
Of the Knight Rider theme? Yeah, it is that.
Yeah.
That's the thing that kicks off the song. Yeah, you only hear that for about 3.5 seconds before the guitars.
5 or 10 seconds. Yeah. So I thought that was cool right off because I'm like, okay, this is feeling, even though it feels like a ripoff, and I don't know that they were intentionally ripping it off, but it just sounded cool. So I was like, cool, that's pretty musical, fun stuff. This is definitely the heaviest song on the album. You said System of a Down, Doug. I wrote down it reminds me of Korn or System of a Down musically. I think that it further goes down that path we talked about earlier about sticking it to the man. There's a lyric, he says, aim, shoot, kill your leaders. That's just too much for me. That's too negative. I'm not into that. I think this is probably the point of the album to where it started to get a little bit old, because so much of that stick it to the man stuff, I do like the stick it to the man stuff. That's cool, but a couple songs, not, and we're going to get more into that style as we go through this. I think that the song feels more heavy than it does musical or melodic. It's music, there's for sure there, but it feels so much heavy that you're not really thinking about how musical or how much melody is going on. It's really just kind of an assault, a full frontal assault of here we are. I'm sure the band loves playing the song live because, I guess from a rock standpoint of just playing live, I can see how they would think it kicks ass. And I guess maybe if I heard this song, I might feel a little bit different. The drums, I think, were very impressive. They're for sure musicians. They can play. There's no doubt about it. When I hear this song, I'm listening to guys that can play their instruments. But overall, to me, I think that this is an album filler. I think that this, I could do without the song. I don't really have a need to listen to it again. I think it would be a bathroom song if I was at a concert. Although, like I said, I would probably like to hear it live just because the drums are so heavy and it's got a lot going on. But yeah, now we're getting to the point of the album where I'm like, okay, like I've heard 7 songs. Where do we go from here? Because this one didn't really do anything for me.
All right, so scores for Assassin. Aim? Or is it me?
Amy.
Okay.
65%.
70.
66. So we're all pretty close on that one.
Mm-hmm. We're averaging out. There's always someone right in the middle, I feel like.
Yep. All right, we're moving on to track number 8, Exopolitics, 3 minutes and 53 seconds. No single or anything like that. And Doug, tell us about it.
I love this track. I think it's so good. The riff on this is just so like catchy. Just that bump, bump, ba da 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 as it kind of stomps through. This one, again, like Starlight, does a good job of kind of like throttling on the dynamics of like, even though you've got this pretty steady like riff that is the backbone of the whole thing, they kind of let things breathe in terms of like, it's the opposite of the last one. It's not an all out assault in terms of every instrument they can find in the studio, right? They let him just sing these verses. And then when they get to the chorus and he, sings, and I'm waiting patiently, I can see, I don't have a problem with his voice, but I can see the things that you don't like about it. Mm-hmm. I do think that when he's doubled on himself, harmonizing with himself, that covers up some of the things that I know you don't like, at least to my ears. I think like when he's harmonized with himself, it like pops really well. And so these choruses where he's, where the harmonies on those, I just think are stellar, in terms of really driving this forward. So this ended up being one I really, really like, because of that. Like it's basically just a great riff, and then these punctuated by these awesome choruses and the melodies on that and the harmonies. And so, yeah, this ended up being one I really liked.
Okay. So right away, guitar lick. That's the first thing that kicked in, and I immediately liked the guitar lick. So after hearing the last track, I was like, okay, I'm kind of back in a little bit. Like, this is pretty cool guitar stuff. There's some cool kind of ambient background stuff going on behind the main lick later on, which I think was cool. I've said stick it to the man a few times, and this was the point of the album where I kind of changed. Although the stick it to the man is still there, but it's starting to feel like more of a rebellion than sticking it to the man. So not necessarily like, hey, asshole, screw you. It's more like we are all kind of like, Hunger Games. It's all of us against you. It kind of started feeling like a rebellion. I think the vocal performance was solid, but I didn't think that the melody was wonderful. I think the pre-chorus was kind of and the chorus was just overall, it's just okay. But I do, like you said, Doug, the harmonies, I really did like the harmonies. There's some cool harmonies going on. I don't think that the melody is totally there, but the fact that he's double, triple, quadrupling them up with all these cool harmonies, I thought that was really cool. I thought that overall, since the melody wasn't great, it was more about the lyrics than the melody on this one. And it's kind of middle of the road for me. I don't hate this song, but I didn't love it either.
This is another one that just didn't work for me. And I didn't even have anything to write down. I didn't have any analysis left in me for this song other than just like, it's hard. This is what I wrote down. Hard for me to continue to rate these. Since it doesn't stand out, I don't have anything to say. Not pleasing. Yeah. I don't like the vocals. So this was another fail for me. Sorry, I don't have anything like musical to say. Like the major chords really stood out. I don't have that stuff.
No, guys. But that's what we need, though, is we need every side of it. You need the music nerd like me and,
the regular person like me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this sounded like basically like all the others. There wasn't a part of it that like stood out. So it kind of just blended into the rest of the album. So didn't rate too high.
All right. So my score was a 95. I love this one.
That's so different. How's our marriage going to survive?
If our marriage can't survive one album, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
The 95 for Doug. I gave it a 72.
65 for me.
Okay. Pretty low. Yeah. All right. We're going on to the next one. City of Delusion. 4 minutes and 48 seconds. On one of the longer tracks on the album, not quite the longest, maybe the third longest it looks like. Not released as a single. I'll go ahead and start this off. There's like this cool samba feel that's happening in the song, so I thought that the samba feel, like the rhythm was really cool. But at this point in the album, when it comes to the lyrics in general, I was starting to kind of get over it, because here we are again, more about rebellion, sticking it to the man. I'm kind of over it at this point from a lyrical standpoint. I don't really need to listen to any more that he's saying, although I did definitely listen, and I looked at the lyrics. But the music's pretty cool on this track. I thought that, again, that feel was cool. I think, again, with the melody, it never really goes anywhere. I think it's probably more about the lyrics for Matt, and then the musicianship of the song. I definitely like the music on this one. Like, there's no doubt the music is very cool. There's some strings that happen during it that I think are really cool. There's an acoustic guitar, and then there's a trumpet solo, which I thought was really cool, because at this point of the album, I guess it's trumpet. It might be a French horn or something. I'm pretty sure it was a trumpet, which I thought was cool. It's a good variation from the rest of the album when it came to that instrumentation and the beat. I just think that probably lyrically, vocally, I was just kind of in the same place as I was with the previous song, with a lot of the songs. So didn't rank very high for me.
This song worked for me. I don't know why. I started out with, it's got the acoustic guitar, and then the drums kick in, and then there's the violins and the strings. I don't know what he's talking about, so it's nothing about the lyrics for me. And then again, like the horn or whatever. Like, I thought it was melodic. I thought it was interesting. Every time I was listening to the album, the 15 times, I would be like, what song is this? Like, I think I kind of like this one. So like, I don't know what it is about this one. I thought it was more melodic. I can't explain it other than like this song worked to my ears, but it was like really loud, but like melodically loud. So I wrote it down. Works for me somehow. So I can't explain my taste. I don't think anyone really can, but this is a good one. This is my favorite on the album.
Really? Interesting.
It's weird. I know. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, because I'm okay on this one. I'm kind of lukewarm on this. I think the distinctive thing about this is, I think we've all seized on, is that acoustic guitar, and I put it as like, I think it's Middle Eastern kind of flair to it, the strings. There's sort of a cool, like, again, back to the song, is like they kind of carry the song through these strings, especially in the chorus. Otherwise, though, I think the sound of it is actually fairly similar to something like Assassin. It's fairly like dun 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 dun, as this kind of chugging guitar. But yet adding a little bit of this, like, again, the strings and almost like a disco kind of sound to it. I think that elevates it a little bit. It's still not one of my favorites on the album, but I appreciate that, like, this is, like, I think the thing that, like, maybe that Assassin song needed to, like, make it more interesting, because that's their biggest trick, which is, like, we have this big bag of musical tricks we can use to take just what should be a straight ahead rock song and do something weird with it and make it, cooler. And, like, that makes this song better in ways that some of the other ones is like, oh, you needed a couple more things out of your bag of tricks here, because otherwise there's not much going for it. So I'm okay with this one, but it's interesting that I'm shocked that this is your favorite.
Yeah.
All right, Kyle.
Interesting. Yeah.
Or
So rating not super high, not one of the lowest. I gave this one a 71.
I gave this one a 94.
Wow. I gave it a 77.
I don't know what to tell you.
Really interesting.
I like it. There's some, like, songs, like, that have, like, semi-melodies that work for me. I don't know if you guys know the song Haunted by Taylor Swift. The song kind of reminds me of that, where it's, like, kind of dark in the background, but the melody, like,
also string heavy.
Yeah. It's something. Yeah. I didn't realize that till right now. I don't know, guys. It gets downhill from here, so don't worry. We're back.
Only two
We're
left.
back in the 60s after this, so
Wow.
Brought up my score, though.
All right. Well, we are moving on to the 10th out of the 11th track on this album. It's Hoodoo, 3 minutes and 43, not released as any sort of single. And Amy, tell us what you hate about it.
He's trying to sing slow, but I don't like it is what I wrote down. Sorry, I'm running out of, like, critical things to say. I'm trying to be like, I liked the last one, guys. He's singing super soft, which again was, like, really annoying, but then it got, like, harder, and then it got not melodic. What's the opposite of melodic?
Amelodic.
Amelodic. And then I wrote down indistinguishable from the rest. So I couldn't even tell you right now what the verses are. I can't think of it in my head. But yeah, not a fan. Sorry.
This is another one for me where, like, the whole is not greater than the sum of its parts. And I think some of the parts are awesome. But it doesn't all come together. Like, his piano playing here, like, this is a classical piece, basically. And I think his piano playing is out of this world good, especially when it really gets harder and he's just banging on those keys. It's like waves of piano keys crashing. I really like all that. And I think some of the lyrics here are good. He's come into my life, regress into a dream. We will hide, build a new reality. Draw another picture of a life you could have had. Follow your instincts and choose the other path. Like, there's a lot of really cool lyrical flourishes here. But again, the overall melody is like not quite there for me. It's a lot of like Take a Bow. I almost think like this could have been part of a neat intro to Knights of Sidonia, which comes next. If you again cut it down to some of these cooler parts, maybe it would have been an interstitial thing and not a full-fledged song. So I like parts of this very much, but again, like, it doesn't all quite work together the way I want it to.
So first off, the intro guitar, Alex Evans, another one of my best friends. I know you're out there listening. You wrote that. You wrote a song called Hey, which was like a 15-second you on an acoustic guitar at the beach in like 1992. You wrote that. You should get credit for that. Just get that out of the way.
Wow. You should find a recording of that.
I don't think I have one, but I know that Alex will remember it when he hears this. So,
you think he's going to listen?
I think he will. He does
Okay.
listen to this
Alex.
podcast. So,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
So anyhow, going into my thoughts about this, I thought that the feel of the song was nice because there's nothing else like this on the album. I think the piano was really cool. I think that as a composition, this is pretty good. I think it's a pretty well composed. Again, with the melody, I don't think that the melody ever really gets there. Like, as a musical piece, I think it's fairly decent, but the melody never comes home. I think at this point I was kind of bored with the vocals, so I kind of started to tune them out, and that's why the song ended up being fairly low for me. Not the lowest, but not super high. I just think at this point in the album, like, it's going to take a banger to get me out of the hole. Like, with the last few songs, I've been kind of going a little bit lower, so... I haven't seen a song in the 80s since track number 4 at this point, and we're on number 10, so it's kind of just kind of I didn't hate it. Again, I thought it was well composed, just not really melodic enough for me.
Did it feel like a second to last, like they hate it track?
Kind of, but there's definitely my hate it tracks. We've already been there and done that, so it's not as bad. But yeah, I mean, coincidentally, it's called Hoodoo in Aerosmith Pump. Second to last song is Voodoo Medicine Man, which is probably the worst track on the album. Yeah, I don't know. I know what you mean, Amy, but I'm not sure.
No, I just meant in the last 2 times we've analyzed, you said like that's where they throw in the one that they like the least.
Yeah, totally, yeah. And that's, for me, not totally true. Maybe it's how they felt about it. I mean, I don't think that this is the worst song, just because I think that it is pretty well composed, and it's pretty good instrumentation and nice. It's just, not wonderful.
Okay, scores for Hoodoo.
Amy.
Yeah.
65.
75.
I gave it a 74.
I'm really bringing our average down, guys.
That's fine.
But you'd be surprised where mine ends up. Even though I've had all these 65s.
I think we're gonna all be pretty close. I think we're all gonna be right in the same area.
Yeah. All right.
Final track on the album.
Track.
Last track. This is track number 11, Knights of Sidonia.
come to make things right. You and I must fight for.
I remember, Doug, you telling me about this song probably a year or two ago. So I do remember, I think you sent me a YouTube video of it, and I did listen to it. So it kind of reminded me when I heard it. This is the longest track on the album at 6 minutes and 6 seconds, and this was released as a single. It was the third single off the album, released in November of 2006, and it got to number 10. So out of the 3 singles that charted, Knights of Sidonia 10, Supermassive Black Hole 6, Starlight number 2, this is all on the US alternative charts, and then Invincible and Map of Problematique did not chart. And Doug, go ahead and take us there. I think you're going to like this one.
Not surprising. I already told you this was the track that made me buy the album when I heard it.
You did.
This is, I think it certainly fits as a closer, right? Like this is, we said like Take a Bow was kind of the opening like thesis statement. This is like the closing argument. You know, it is very much like, again, here's everything we do. And it's one of those songs that like it has multiple parts to it, right? It's 6 minutes, but like it doesn't all sound the same all the way through. Like you get this like, first they start with this like chugging, like again, sounds like literal like knights on horseback sounds, but even the guitar riff is this like junk, like you can hear horses as they sound like knights. Sidonia is, this again is their conspiratorial bullshit. This is the Sidonia is an area on Mars where like in tabloids they're like, there's a face on Mars. Like, no, it's a blurry picture of a mountain. We got a better picture of it. It doesn't look like a face. But for a while that was a whole thing of like, there's this statue of a face on Mars. So they're talking about that. Come ride with me through the veins of history. It's like epic. It's very sweeping, like as it goes through. It's got those different modes where they go into like, here's again, like some arpeggiated, it's almost like a synthesized bass. These crazy Queen-esque harmonies as they get that, no one's gonna take me alive. Like it gets really big. And like, I just loved the bombast of this. Like this is a song that like, it takes balls to write something like this. And I think for me, I think when I heard that, I was like, you know, as big and influential as Queen is, there hadn't been any bands that really sounded or tried to sound like them until Muse, which I think it's very clear that's something they're going for a lot. I think on this song, they pull it off better than some of the others. But certainly the idea of like, I just was in love with the idea of like a band that was going to take a swing this big. And as a single too, to have it be 6 minutes long, but it was just, it just felt like this song was trying to blow your hair back. And I think it succeeds for the most part. So yeah, I really, really like this one a lot.
Before I go into my opinion, Doug, I'm just curious, do you remember when this was on the radio, did they play all 6 minutes and 6 seconds, or was there like a radio edit? I'm trying to remember. I suspect it was shorter. I think they probably at least cut off some of the, like, because there's like sound effects, like I said, of horses and some like very like atmospheric kind of sounds at the beginning. I suspect when they played it on the radio, it just kicked in with it like dump, da-da-dump, da-da, and the guitars, and not even the full like guitar intro. That probably gave you a smaller percentage of that. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. So what's cool about this one is that it definitely paints a picture. I don't think we've talked about this on this album, and we have in the past on another podcast, but this is a very visual song. I think with the whole horses stomping, marching kind of thing, like you definitely see something, which I think is really cool anytime a song can do that. I particularly really love the No One's Gonna Take Me Alive harmonies, how it breaks down. That's very cool. I think the instrumentation as a whole is very cool. I like the loud, clean, surf-like guitar that's happening throughout. I think that's really cool. I haven't really heard that at this point in the album, and actually musically, I don't know that there is anything else on this album. I think, as you said, Doug, as a closer, this is a great closer. It might be a good opener. I think Take a Bow is the strong opener. But this kind of feels like it belongs at the end. I don't know that I would close a show with this. I'd probably want to close the show like a concert with a banger, like something else, like Supermassive or Starlight. But I like the guitar. I think lyrics are the same and really sums up the overall lyrical feel of the album, what I've talked about already, so I'm kind of on all of that. Yeah, I think that the heavy part later on in the song is really cool because you really get a contrast from sort of a clean and fast. I mean, the song, the tempo doesn't really change, but it's pretty stompy and jumpy with the horse feel, and then it gets heavier with a heavier guitar later on. So I thought this one was actually pretty cool. It's not my favorite, but it is certainly not at the low of the album. Amy?
Yeah, what's weird for me was when I was listening to this album 500 times, like this one wasn't on the album, like it wasn't shuffling through. So I don't know if I accidentally hit like delete off the album or something, but it wasn't until I sat down to work on my list with my lyrics printed out that I realized like I haven't heard this song. So maybe if I had had more listens, I would have liked it more. Maybe not. Spoiler alert, probably not. But this song was okay. I gave it a slightly higher than my worsts just because I really enjoyed the choruses and like the harmonies. But still, not. I mean, I just don't like this band, you guys. I don't have anything to say.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a very theatrical song, and I will say, having seen them twice, I'm pretty sure they did close both of their concerts with this because it is long and epic and like, again, kind of like this is everything we do as a band. Ta-da, So I think there's a reason why it's at the end of this album, and often, at least like the two times I saw them, it was at the end of the concert. Because it is so grandiose in a way that works as opposed to some other things which are just grandiose and just sort of, loud for the sake of loud, or, not as, cohesive or tightly put together. For me, this is a success. So my score on this, I gave it a 98. I think this is unfucking believable as a song. Like, it's just like, wow, as a showpiece because of the theatricality and everything else. Like, it's meant to be, a big old firework in the face.
Okay, wow, pretty high. So this crosses over the 80 mark for me, and I put it right in an 80.
All right, and that's a 70 for me.
All right.
Wow, all over the place.
We should mention, there is one song. Sometimes if you buy the album, you're like, why aren't they talking about this? A lot of versions of the albums will have a 12th song called Glorious that's at the end of it. But like, we're going off of like canonically, that's a bonus track. It's not always there. So I didn't have anything I planned on saying about it unless you guys wanted to talk about it.
Nah, I might have heard it once or twice randomly, but not enough to remember or take any notes on it.
I don't think it's any great. It's not terrible, but it's fine. It's like right in the middle. I don't think there's anything interesting to say or need to focus on it. But if you're confused, you're like, wait a minute, mine has 12 tracks. Why are they talking about it? That's why. So
cool. Right.
Okay, so that takes us to the part of the show where I put down the piece of paper that had the order in which we do things. Okay, here it is. So time for our favorite tracks. So I think we're starting with you, Amy. What was your favorite track?
All right.
know.
So my favorite is, what is it called? City of Delusion?
Yeah.
Yeah. City of Delusion. And then I liked Starlight.
Yeah, my favorites are Starlight and Knights of Sidonia. I mean, those are the two highest scores I gave. Yeah. Kyle?
Okay, and for me, Starlight, again, that's one of the best. And then Supermassive Black Hole is the second. I really like that one. I'm really glad that I get to add that to my future playlist for Kyle. So, very cool stuff.
All right, least favorite tracks. Aim?
The whole album. No, just kidding. I mean, a lot of them ranked 65 for me. So the Assassin, Take a Bow, I guess would be the standouts of like the ones I didn't like the most.
I think for me, Assassin is one I tend to just, I forget it. I forget it's there. And there are definitely a few of these where I'm like, I had trouble, like, which one is that again? Or I would confuse it even with a track from a different Muse album of like, isn't this song on the album? Oh, no, that's on the other album. So yeah, definitely Assassin.
Okay. I had two. I had Assassin. I could pretty much assassinate the song. And then Soldier's Poem. Not so much into that. Those are my lowies.
Yeah, that's another one I kept thinking, like, where's that song? And it's not the one I was thinking of every time I saw Soldier's Poem is one that's on their previous album. I forget what it's called, but I'm like, oh, that would be better here. All right, so then it's time for final thoughts and summations. Aim?
I mean, I've said everything I think there is to say about this album. What I'd like to discuss, just for a couple of minutes is like, I know so whenever we're riding in the car and the kids are like, I don't want to listen to this, I don't want to listen to this. And Doug's always like trying to like expose them to different music.
Good job, Dad. That's what you've got to do.
Of course. Yes. But people are just going to have different tastes. So like, it doesn't matter how many times you play this Muse album. For me, like, I'm just not going to like it. And I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm like, I'd like a divorce. Just kidding.
Surprise!
Surprise. Here's the papers. No,
I know where you're going. I got to counter it, though. Go ahead. Finish first.
I don't know what my thought is other than like, Doug is like, I don't understand why you don't. This is a therapy session now. He's like, I don't understand why you don't like more music. You hate everything. Because I'm like, I just have opinions and I don't happen to like some of the things that you like. And I'm sure vice versa. You're not going to like my Jewel and some of my Jason Mraz, like that stuff. So it's like, let's talk about taste a little bit. And like, I mean, I don't know. Kyle, what were you going to say? I don't know where I'm going.
So I think when it comes to kids, and this is only from past experience of having kids that are, teenage and above, is that they are going to push back on everything you do, especially as they get older. So like a good example is Brandon, who's way into a lot of the music that I like now. But growing up, I would play Pearl Jam a lot, and he just hated it, and I think he hated it just because I played it. Eventually, later in life, he actually, I don't know that he loves Pearl Jam. Hi, Brennan. But he likes it. He can stand it. It's okay. I think it's important that you expose kids to whatever you like. Please, Beatles, no matter what. Just please, parents, let's not let kids forget about the Beatles. But they're going to like what they're going to like. Yes, I think it's harder with an adult. I think getting somebody like me or Amy or Doug, even you, like into something that you already don't like is more difficult. Whereas a kid, they're much more, they're going to judge it, but it's going to take years for that to really, accumulate and get an opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tricky because, again, there is no accounting for taste. It's something you have no control over. I think it is good generally for people to be well-rounded, try and like more things, expose yourself to more things, see what's out there, because it is so easy to just kind of fall into like, well, I like this one thing or this, small bandwidth of things. So one of the things I love about this podcast is the fact that we're exposing each other to different music, even if it's like, this isn't my favorite album in the world, but I thought it would be cool to listen to and talk about, right? Which is a different kind of mode than saying like, this is my favorite thing on earth and I hope you all like it. Like that's sort of two different things. But what's good about stuff like this is I think it's important to be able to appreciate things even if they're not for you, and say like, like we did with this album, go like, okay, like this song didn't work for me, but I can see like why the different pieces of this, like what's cool about this part of it, or why this works, or even understanding why you don't like something is better or more constructive than just saying, man, I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's good to interrogate that and understand like where this comes from. Because even if you ended up not liking this album, it's theoretically possible you like their next album, or you like something that is like, you know what, this takes all the things I liked about this album, all the positives without all the negatives. Like there's something, maybe not this band, but a band kind of like them that you end up falling in love with. So like, it's really worthwhile. I think, if I hear like another podcast, they're talking about an album or an artist they like, I'll go check it out just to go like, oh boy, something new. I'm Mr. 7 out of 10, like that's my lowest score for anything overall. I like everything. But I don't think it says I like everything. It's I think I'm trying to train myself to be like, okay, but what's good about this thing? Even if it's not my favorite thing. Because like we'll watch movies that are like way more Amy movies than Doug movies. And it's like, yeah, if I had my druthers, we'd be watching way more like sci-fi nerd stuff. But I can watch a rom-com and go like, I get why this is appealing. And there's a value to being able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Open-mindedness, really, right? It's being open to it. I think one thing that I got from this experience of this album in particular is that even though I think it's clear in my numbers that I don't love the band or love a lot of the songs on the album, is I'm actually interested in them. I don't know when or if it'll be anytime soon, but the fact that I digested this whole record of songs, I'm really curious to know where they went after this. Like, what is the next album like? I might not go through and listen to all of their albums, but I might sample some stuff, maybe some of the high up on the list, iTunes, Spotify, or whatever, just to see. And that is what I think is really cool about this podcast, at least for us. Hopefully listeners will agree. It's like, it's just a suggestion of, hey, we rated this, we went through this. What do you think of it, right? Some people might hate this crap. Some people we might just turn this band on to way more fans. We might be helping them out a lot.
Cool. Well, so we've gone through our final thoughts on Black Holes and Revelations. It's time for our final scores. So Amy, you're up first. What was your final average?
My final average was 74%.
Okay. And mine was 84.63%.
All right. And mine's pretty close to the center of that, 77.45.
All right. So we need to total those up and average them together for our
I don't
final
know that we
GPA.
hit 80. I don't think we did.
I don't think we did.
All right. Drum roll. 78.73 roughly is where our average was. I think a little bit lower than the Kinks album. I think this might be the lowest of the three. I don't know.
What was Mraz? Oh, we didn't do Mraz like this. We did it different.
We still worked up a number. It was somewhere in the low 80s, somewhere between 80 and 85. Yeah. I forget what.
Yeah, that's okay if the first one wasn't like that. We will continue this format going forward, people.
All right, cool. Any last?
I don't think so. It's time for you to tell us our homework for next time. What's it going to be?
Amy, we're excited. What kind of shit are you going to give us?
I don't think you're going to know who this is, Kyle. All right, so we are going to do an artist named Ben Kweller, Kweller, and an album called Sha Sha. I believe it was also from 2006.
Like SHA?
Yep. And I think there might be a couple versions, so I'll tell you which version. It's the 2002 ATO, I think. I don't know. I'll let you know which version it is, because there's one that has a few different tracks, but that's not the right one.
We'll put it in the show notes so you know which one, if you're following along.
Oh, no, it's 2002 full album. Okay.
Ben Weller it is.
Have you, Kweller, K. Have you heard it? You have no
Ben
idea.
Kweller?
Yeah.
Wait, spell that.
Kweller. Watch, you're like, I have all of this music.
So I've heard of this because, Amy, you've mentioned this guy before 20 years ago. So I don't know any of it, but I've heard the name.
And I know the name because when it's a weird name, once you've heard it, you never forget it because his name is Kweller. And I know I've heard one track by him, but it was a cover of like a song from the 50s. I can't remember which one, but it's the only thing from him I've ever heard.
Do you guys know a band called Radish? I think from the 90s.
No.
He was a teenager, I believe, in the band, and they disbanded, and this was his first solo album. I don't know that band either, but I just remember looking that up.
Very cool. I'm excited to listen to this because this is all new. Okay, so then it is time for plugs and such. So, Amy, people want to find you. Where do they find your awesome earrings?
You can find me on TikTok or Instagram or Etsy under Momo Bunniesmore Co.
Kyle, how about your music? Where do they find that?
Momo. Music. Kyle and the Silver Dork, In Your Blind Spot. You can get that anywhere. iTunes, YouTube, Amazon, wherever. And by the time this comes out, there might be a new album. There's a new album in the works, which I think will probably be out in the fall. So we'll see when we get to that.
That's great. As for me, I am the host of the Nostalgium Arcanum podcast, which Amy and Kyle, of course, drop in on regularly. So you can go find that at Nostalgium Pod. If you want to get in touch with us, you can go to our social media portals, which are in the show notes. And so you can play along with us, listen to the album for next time. Let us know what you think of Sha Sha and anything else we've covered. So that's where you go for all of that stuff. So I think that brings us to a close, and so we don't have a sign-off except for saying, until next time, a cute sign-off.
Or we could take a bow.
Oh. You guys are in the city of delusion.
Good enough.